Live from Las Vegas, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker. L.A. Walker. Raw and unfiltered conversations on how to give life's challenges the finger. Truth is your passport to emotional freedom. Give an eviction notice to negativity. Dump yesterday's garbage. Learn how to be positive, energized, healthy, and alive during these insanely unpredictable times. Look up, get up, stay up. Then help somebody else to get up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down. Now, broadcasting hope to the world, L.A. Walker.
Hey, this is L.A. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Listen, did you wake up this morning excited, energetic, alive, ready to conquer the world? Or did you wake up with some stuff from yesterday or yesteryear? Because a lot of times that happens to us, be honest. Well, if you did, I want to introduce you to a little principle that I have. I'll share it with you. It's called OPA, O-P-A, open, present, and available. Once I focus on those three words, if I wake up all haywire and crazy thinking about some disappointment from years ago, that helps me get myself on track and embrace the day with vigor. So let's do that. Because, after all, we have to stay on our jobs. Living is the best job I've ever had, and I'm staying on my job. Today is part 2 of my conversation with my friend AJ, and it's about friendship and what a blessing it is during difficult times. And dementia caregiving is a difficult time. AJ and I both have experienced the loss of a loved one to dementia. Our loved ones are now able to rest from all of the dementia behaviors that they suffered through and under. But for the caregivers, those moments, they don't go away. Should I have, why didn't I? Why did this happen? How could I have? All of those questions live with us. They're ongoing. Dementia caregivers need love, help, support, kindness, and concern. And so if you know someone who's a dementia caregiver, be that friend.
We've always been. I don't remember how we begun. All I know is when I need someone to care, you're right there. When you don't understand, you reach out and gently touch my hand and tell me it'll be alright. Girl, get some sleep tonight. I can tell you all the crazy mistakes I made, and you never pulled me down. Our tucks are on looks. You never spread them around. Never spread them around. Friendship is a gift from above, molded by trust and secured with love. Friendship makes you feel secure, even when life gets so unsure. Friendship, you're committed. It's always there when you need it. So be careful how you treat it. Friendship.
Because when I started doing the play, I just started talking to people about the play and the premise, and almost everyone that I met either had somebody presently with dementia or had someone with dementia. And I'm thinking, man, this is big. This is huge.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about it. And God dang it, we better talk about it. Seriously.
Yeah, and we also need to really look at what we can do legislation-wise.
Absolutely.
Because the treatment of the elderly, for lack of a better term, in this country is atrocious.
It is atrocious.
And I am still young, but I'm not going to be forever. And I am not a millionaire. So, I really worry about what's going to happen to me when I get older.
Right.
They keep threatening to take away Social Security, which is not much as it is.
Right.
And so I'm building this life, and what's going to happen to all this is, and so, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep building my life and building for my future. And, with keeping in mind that I will get older, but not being hopeless
Right.
about it.
Well, the clue before us, AJ. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And just keep fighting to make things better in the meantime.
Absolutely. And the visuals that we're able to receive of pictures and stories from loved ones, from celebrities like Bruce Willis, like Robin Williams,
Yep.
and that we have to understand and learn from these visuals that we're seeing that we are all susceptible. How do we manage these things? And you hit it on the head. We have to figure out what we need, what type of legislation we need, and how we go about making that happen quickly.
Right.
Because
and the other thing is too is that this is not like an old person's thing.
It is not.
My dad was young. I mean, late 60s, early 70s. That's not old.
Well, let me tell you, it's not old. And Singapore, well, let me go back. What we're eating and drinking today and the amount of stress that we are under just from our daily living is exacerbating these conditions. And so early onset dementia is happening. It is a thing. It is really happening. And I mentioned Japan because Japan allowed its citizens to start eating our food, our fast foods, and it is showing up in their age, early onset dementia, and so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, and the thing about it is too with my dad, like it just came in and hit us like a hammer. Like he ate very well, like. When I was growing up, we always had dinner. Like we hardly ever had fast food. He worked out all the time. Like he was a healthy person. He lived a healthy lifestyle. And so, it can touch anybody.
Right.
And that's what's really scary about it. And then there's no going back from that. And, it's really hard because I see people that are older than me that are like on trips with their parents. And we were the three musketeers growing up. It was the three of us. We always did everything together. I mean, like I said, for my 40th birthday, it was my wife and my parents. Like we did everything together. And so like that closeness and that love and that, like, we're still supposed to be going out on the boat together and going on cruises together. And I see people that are older than me with their parents, and it's like, oh, how great for them. But like, it's sad to me because I'm like, how come I don't get that?
Right.
Right.
No, I get it. I get
and
it.
It's really hard.
I understand. It is very hard because, first of all, we don't envision these things happening. We just don't. We live, we enjoy ourselves, we take life for granted, we take each other for granted, and then boom, here comes this thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, my whole life has been altered. And it will never return to what I envisioned it to be.
Yeah.
And so part of our education, let's go back, we don't need legislation for this. Part of our education of high school children in particular is introducing them to life. Really, introducing them to things that could occur and what to do next if they do. Because we're sending people out into the world inadequately. I mean, we know how to add and subtract. That's it. We're done. And it's not enough. We need to know that we're going to run into some tough decisions and things are going to happen. It's not going to always be sunshine. How do we handle the rain? How do we handle that? So going back to what you were saying about the diagnosis taking so long, I think as we move about coming to, and this depends on the neurologist that you're assigned to, getting to a quicker diagnosis is extremely important. But once that diagnosis is established, getting that family in a conversation, okay, who's going to be a part of the caregiving team for this person?
Exactly.
Now, this is what this is. This is what this particular dementia, how the behaviors are. This is the possibility of medication. This is what you might encounter in year 2, in year 3. Let's sit down right now and get you some assistance of training because you have none.
Right. Yes. Training and planning.
Training and planning.
And my mom at the time, because my mom is young too. She's still in her mid 60s, I think. She was still working.
Wow.
And so she was able to work from home, but you are at your job. You can't just stop in the middle of everything because you're trying to figure out what your husband needs, And so do you pay for somebody to come into your home? And my mom's a private person, doesn't want people in the house,
Right. Right.
And, getting help with cleaning and cooking. That's the other thing. My dad was the cook. And my mom, bless her. She's just not.
Yeah, my mom was a water boiler too. That was the extent of it. She did a good job at that.
Yeah. And it's not even that. It's just like, oh my God, I have to go and figure out what meal I'm going to prepare for this person for 3 meals a day plus snacks.
Oh, come on, right?
And every single day,
AJ,
what are we going to eat?
AJ,
let me go to the grocery store and plan out what we're going to eat. And it's like,
oh my
man.
God, I was horrified. I was not a cook. I'm still not a cook. I can make things, but because I'm not a cook, it takes me hours to cook. You know what I mean? But my friend can go into the kitchen and boom, 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 done. I'm like, God, how'd you do that? Because it's a natural skill set for her. It's not for me. And so when I started trying to hustle up 3 meals a day of snacks, I was like, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing.
And your whole life just becomes about what's for dinner.
Social Issues Theater, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to moving diversity, equity, and inclusion from a conversation into a reality by bringing society together, one line at a time. Social Issues Theater has produced several theatrical works addressing social issues from racism to transphobia. Presently, our pet project is a theatrical production entitled The Wonderful World of Was. This musical dramedy shares the life of retired real estate developer LaRue Bordeaux, whose wife Lorraine has recently passed in the process of providing care for him, and how his only daughter, a lifelong friend of his wife's, and a handyman who's been like a son, all come together as a chosen family. Each of them has committed themselves to walk this dementia journey with Mr. LaRue Bordeaux. But did I mention that neither of them has any experience in dementia caregiving? Our goal with this body of work is to inform, to inspire, in some cases to validate, and to offer hope and liberation where we can talk about dementia and not be afraid and not feel intimidated and not be ashamed, but to actually have a conversation because there are millions of people suffering silently. The Alzheimer's Association has done extensive research, and they report that there are presently 6.5 million Americans 65 or over living with Alzheimer's, and that's just as of 2022. Over 30% of dementia caregivers die in the process of providing care. That's a very, very high number that doesn't get discussed. But there's something else that we need to remind ourselves of, and that is dementia is not a disease. It is a symptom of a brain disorder. And so, that being said, we have to look at this whole thing a lot differently. And that's what our goal is with this play and with our workshops that we have for our caregivers. We're asking you, Social Issues Theater, to support us in purchasing tickets for our plays, for raffles, for fundraising events that we have. You can keep abreast of us with The Wonderful World of Was. We have a Facebook presence, and then our website, thesit, THESIT.org, thesit.org. We need your support. We need your donations. We need your ideas. We need your volunteerism, because this is a large job and we cannot do it alone.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
Yeah, because your whole life now, okay, so we all live, when we do things, we want to do a good job. We want to feel rewarded because we did do a good job. And now you're in a situation where you don't know anything about anything that you're doing.
Yep.
How could you possibly do a good job? And so you struggle and do the very best that you can, but you never really feel that exhilaration from doing a good job. And so it's like
that thankless part of it is that can get you down too.
It does get you down. It's an ego crusher, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep. So how are you now? You sound pretty good.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I've held back tears a couple times through this discussion.
Oh, girl, I'm there all the time. I get it.
But you sent me your podcast, and I was like, I don't think I can listen to this. But I did, and it really felt good to hear that there's somebody else out in the world that's experienced this, and the courage to want to talk about it, because we don't. And most of the time when people do, they make jokes about it,
Right.
And like I talked about previously, there was a lot of funny times with my dad, but that's not making a joke out of
No,
the
not at
situation.
all. Not at all.
And, we're hearing a lot of this come up with, the elections coming up, and everybody's saying that everybody that's running has dementia. And so I'm just hearing it over and over and over again all the time, because part of my job is to be, informed on what's happening. And so, sometimes I just have to step outside of that. And today, let's go. I'm going to go do some chores. I'm going to listen to a book on tape. That's my new thing now.
Okay.
Or audio book, because it's digital. We're not on tape anymore, but
right.
But and then maybe go do some stuff with our grandbaby, and just have fun, and just try to be in the moment with the people I love, because you never know if that's going to get robbed away from you.
You do not know. We must live today. We must live it in the way that we feel is bringing us the most joy, hope for peace and prosperity. And we have to live it in love. And we also have to live it in with an understanding that we don't know everything, and that's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's therapeutic for me, to allow myself to remember and to speak out loud those things that I've been suppressing inside, because I'm sure you experience this, because you have so many duties of your own personal life, and then so many duties in order to help your loved one. You suppress a lot of stuff, because if you sit there and think about everything, you'll go crazy. So you just put that on the back burner and just do the next thing that you can do. And then months later down the road, or a year later down the road, you were like, oh God, I can't believe I did that. It's like...
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So So my dad, from the time I knew what was going on till his death, it was only about 4 years, I think. Only. It was
Right.
a long 4
Long time.
years.
Right.
With many moving parts. At the same time, I had a biological father who I had not talked to in about 4 years also, or maybe more. Not for my own lack of trying. And that was just a complicated relationship. But I was like, well, that guy's still out there. Maybe one day I could still have a relationship with a father. And
wow. Okay.
and so my dad died, and I was there with my mom for another week or two. So I was going back and forth quite a bit. And I got home, and I was home back in Vegas for exactly 1 week after I had, helped my mom make arrangements for my dad and everything. And then I get a Facebook message from my uncle, my biological uncle, saying, your father is in the hospital on a tube, and he's, not going to make it. And so I was like, okay, here we go.
Here we go. Right.
Within 3 weeks, I lost both dads.
Wow, AJ.
And so there's this question I had, and the universe, kind of gave me a non-answer. But my question was, I wonder if it's worse to know that somebody's declining and they're going to die, or if it just happens suddenly. Like, what's worse? And there's no answer to that. I can't give anybody an answer.
No, because it depends on the relationship too. So
yeah, it's just all bad.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say that I did not respond because I was just frozen. I think when you told me, that you were taking care of your dad and you had gone back home, and then your mother had this cancer diagnosis. I cannot imagine what your life was like at that moment. And so, I commend you for persevering and with such pleasantness as you can have under these circumstances. And it's a lot. And, and now knowing that your biological father has met his end as well, that's really hard. I get it. But
so I'm like really hanging on to my mom. But what I noticed though is that like I am so hyper vigilant about death now. Like I'll look at my dog and be like, "Are you still breathing?" Okay.
Oh God, I know.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night and look at my wife and be like, "Are you still breathing?" Okay. Like I'm just afraid everybody's gonna go now.
Oh, I know. So if my friends call me and they say, "I don't feel well. I don't sleep," I'm like, "Yeah." I don't feel well. Let me call you in the morning. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm texting. Are you all right? Yeah.
Are you alive?
Are you breathing? Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. No, I get it. I get it. Don't die on me. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want another damn person to die on me. I'm over it.
And also, like, I've gotten more into taking care of my own health because I need to make sure that I do my best to stay alive, because my mom and my wife would not be able to handle that.
See,
not that I'm the, best thing in the world, but like our relationships are so close. That would be really, really hard for them. So I'm doing the best to take care of my health. So that I can stay alive for them too. Well,
I get it. I wanted to answer your question about whether it's easier to know that death is coming or death to just come. So I lost my mom and my dad to heart attacks. My mom died. I talked to my mom on a Wednesday. I was living in Baltimore, and she was in Chicago. and we had spoken on that Monday. That's what it was. And as I was getting ready to do the news, I had a radio show as a news director. And so they kept trying to get my attention in the booth. And then my then pastor called me while I was in the booth and says, I got bad news for you. So I'm thinking, maybe the L in Chicago had fallen again or something. And he told me my mom had passed. Well, that it was over. There was no more news for me that day. So,
wow.
And then in 2001, I got a call that my dad had passed away on the street on his way from his favorite place, the bank. And so, and so I said to myself after burying my dad, I said, I've gotten off really easy because so many of my friends had to provide care for their loved ones. Well,
yeah.
It was waiting for me. It was waiting for me. So,
yeah. I've been doing that too. I'm like, okay, I need to be more conscientious of those small thoughts because, man, life is giving me that stuff. And so now I have those thoughts that roll through my head slowly, and I'm like, oh no, cancel, safe. But I tell people too, like this dementia stuff, man, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No, and I remember having conversations with you kind of midway when you were caring for your dad.
Yeah, and I really really appreciate you for that. I mean, even offering to talk to my mom, which I don't think she ever called, but to offer that to a stranger. It was just, really special.
Thank
and
you so much.
Helpful and important. And I appreciate you so much. And I do feel like we have been, on a parallel journey here together, separate, but knowing, I think for me, that there was somebody out there that I respect and care about to be there, knowing that if I did need to make that call, I could, was really amazing.
I'm glad.
I appreciate that.
I am so glad that was impactful for you. I received the same type of generosity from Tasha Marvin. She helped me tremendously, and had she not stepped in to have that brave talk, okay, so it comes a point that you cannot walk around and dance around stuff any longer. Somebody has to give it to you straight. RISE is a research study being conducted by Emory University, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. RISE stands for Research Inclusion Supports Equity. The RISE study includes a research registry created to help ensure that the LGBTQIA+ community is represented in Alzheimer's research. Those of you of the LGBTQIA+ community and are caregivers perhaps for a loved one, please visit the riseregistry.org. Read the information and register so that you and or a loved one will be included in Alzheimer's research. Once again, that is the riseregistry.org. Have you been to Scotty's restaurant in Southern Highlands, located within the Tuscan Highlands Apartments? No? Oh my goodness, you have been missing a treat. Oh, the views at Scotty's, the surroundings are absolutely beautiful. The food menu selection is great, the service is wonderful, and the food tastes good. That's really important because I don't care how beautiful a place is. If the food doesn't taste good, I'm out. Come to Scotty's, 12656 Southern Highlands Parkway in the Tuscan Highlands Apartments with the greatest of views, good food, and great service. See you there.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
somebody has to give it to you straight. Somebody has to say, listen, you're going to have to make some changes, and you're going to have to make them now. You are physically deteriorating. You don't look like yourself. You don't sound like yourself. You're not taking care of yourself, and this disease is going to continue to progress. What do you intend on doing to save yourself? And you're like, huh? What? Save myself, But somebody has to tell you. Somebody has to tell you that your loved one is going to die. And you better get your mind, your finances, and your family and your social connection together and prepare for that. Someone has to take that step and feel close enough to you to say those things. And so I was so grateful that she did, because had she not, I would not have been able to, I think, on my own, make the decision to move to a senior living place.
Right.
Yeah. So I.
Yeah, and I think I was the one that, well, I've kind of always been tough with my mom. She acknowledges it too. Like sometimes, like, who is the child in this relationship?
I get it.
And my mom is in no way elderly. I mean, I think we've just been like peers for a long time.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
So I was telling her that stuff too. Like, hey, you can't do this on your own anymore. You need help. So is that going to be somebody coming into the home? What's that going to look like? Let's interview people.
Right.
Let's do this. What are the affairs that we need to get in order? Let's do it. Come on.
Absolutely.
And a lot of those decisions, in the middle, she made by herself, and I, she didn't have me involved in it. And, but I was like, good job, Mom. Good. You made those decisions. I'm proud of you, because that's what's happening now. And this is where we're going now.
And when you leave receiving a diagnosis, you should receive a packet. And that packet should have suggestions to you. You should see what it looks like. There should be examples of an advance directive, examples of a medical power of attorney, examples of a durable power of attorney, examples of what you need to do to have a living trust and or a will. Those are things that you need. They should not even assume that you know them or not know them. You should leave with that information, because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in our case, my dad was really business savvy and all of that stuff. So he had all that stuff set up before he wasn't able to, which is great, because my mom, that is not her skill set,
Right. I get it.
She's an amazing person. She's very intelligent. She has different skill sets than my dad had. And so, but all that was taken care of, and kind of, he kind of was able to guide her through that process a little bit before things got too heavy. But I still was kind of mad that it wasn't fully discussed, because you don't know.
No, you don't.
Like, hey, your speech is going to go away forever. You're not going to be able to live this way forever. What do you want me to do when this happens? What stage do you want me to think about, putting you into care somewhere? Where would you like that place to be? I wish those conversations would have happened, but because nobody tells you that you need to have those conversations, and everybody's got moments of lucidity sometimes here and there until things progress. Like, those are the times that you could have those conversations.
Right.
But nobody tells you, hey, you should probably have a conversation about what going into a home is going to look like, and that we're going to need to find a memory care place, and it's going to cost this much money, and, all that kind of stuff, so you can make those decisions together if possible. But yeah, that's really important thing that nobody nobody discussed.
No.
But you're right. And most people, like, I don't know what all that stuff is, and advance directive and all these things. And now that I do, I'm like, oh yeah, we need to do that. Me and my wife, oh yeah, we need to do that. Oh yeah, we need to do that. And then time just goes by and we don't do that, you know?
Right. And that's why, you know, Marcia, my co-writer on the play, wonderful person, her mom is in dementia decline right now. And we decided, and we are working on a program for caregivers and a respite program within our powers right now until we get the grants to expand it, but at least we can lay it out, that will do some of those things that we just discussed. I used to do presentations at Desert Springs Community Center and give people information because I found on my journey, and Terry was still alive and present with me when I would do this at that time, that information was my only weapon. It was the only thing I had. And so much so, AJ, that I got so preoccupied in taking care of all of her stuff that I forgot that I'm sitting here right now and I have to make sure that people have the password to my computer, they can get into my door. There's a whole list of things that I have to now think about and act on and disseminate that information because, you know, something can happen overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's important, too, that people that are caregivers not gatekeep the information like you're talking about with passwords and stuff like that. Right. Because if something happens to you, there needs to be a plan for somebody to be able to take care of them still.
It has to be. There has to be. Do you know how disastrous that would be?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's happening to people all over every day as we speak because people don't talk. And I just have to say this about the people in my ethnicity, that we don't talk about Jack. If it's important, we're not talking about it. And it just is disturbing. It's very disturbing to me. And so I'm really sounding the alarm within our community, LGBTQ and Black community, that, like, hey, you know, look, we got to do this. We got to do this. HIV and AIDS is really important, but there's some other things that we're encountering that are important as well. So we have to, you know, put that on the plate right next to that, and let's get that done.
Well, thank you so much for letting me talk about this.
And it's the first of many talks. And honestly, I would like to, once we kick off this program, I wouldn't mind if you would come in as a testimonial speaker, you know, of share your experience, because I'm telling you, it's just so uplifting and inspiring when people can close the door and feel like somebody who's really been through it, understands what they're going through, and willing to help them. Is so meaningful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
really
textbooks just don't get it, babe.
No, and I appreciate you for, again, having me on and also just being there with your hand on my shoulder through the whole thing.
Oh, I love you so much.
I really do feel that way. I really felt like I had, you know, you and a couple of other people that they've got me. If I need something, I know that there's people that I can turn to. And
that's a beautiful thing.
That's a blessing, and I really do. I will always cherish you for that.
Thank you, AJ. Likewise, sweetheart. And I admire your strength and your courage. And we're going to figure out a way to make this load a little lighter for somebody else.
Listen to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker every day. To follow up, make comments, discuss today's podcast, or find out how you can become a guest and share your victory over a negative life event, follow L.A. Walker. Up is Higher Than Down on Facebook. Look up, get up, stay up. Remember, any part of Up